Grab your fabric scraps, your favorite cup of tea. It's time to make a scrappy pumpkin block like this one in a crazy quilt style. Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Jackie and I love using scrap fabric to make scrap fabric quilt blocks, quilt as you go blocks, and all sorts of creative projects. And remember, no rules, no perfection. Today's video is a viewer request. Thank you so much, Linda. We're making a scrappy pumpkin quilt block in a crazy quilt style, and it's such a fun scrap buster. The block will be trimmed to 10 inches, and if you make 40 of these, you'll have your own pumpkin patch quilt. I'll be using the decorative stitches on my sewing machine, but no worries if you don't have the decorative stitches. You can simply use your zigzag stitch and mix it up with different colors. The effect will still be stunning. And the best part, I have created a pattern for you, and it will be linked in the description box below so that you can follow along today. It has all the pattern pieces, so go ahead and grab that pattern and cut out the pieces and we'll get started. First of all, let's take a look at our pattern. And it's pretty simple. I have all the pattern pieces for you, and you'll simply cut them out, and they're all marked with a letter. And then there is a top part to the pattern and a bottom. And to make it easy, I even showed you how to connect the pieces so they go together really fast. So connect T1 to T2. Once those are connected, connect T3 to this one, and then T4 to this one, and you've got your top done. And that will be this one. Isn't this darling? And it's very, very scrappy. Look at the stitches. So cute and so easy. So that is the quilt pattern, and it will look like this, but you'll just use different fabrics to make your pumpkins. Grab whatever you have in your stash. All scraps are welcome. And let's go over the materials you're going to need. Move that out of the way. For the materials, scrap fabric, a piece of a 10.5-inch square batting or flannel, a 10.5-inch square backing fabric, the free pattern, pin, clips or glue, scissors or rotary cutter, sewing machine, and any colored threads that you have. I'm using this box of Gutermann. I got this when Joann's was going out of business, and I'm still using it. It has all these different colors. So pretty. I think most stores would carry a collection like this. You could do Coats and Clark. These are actually 100% cotton, but I want to use it up. But whatever you have in your stash, just use it. You'll make it work. Sometimes before I start a project, I like to do a swatch where I sew out the stitches and then I put the number so I remember. So for this project, these are some of the stitches that I used. And that's always helpful to me so I don't have to look them up again. All right, we've got our scrap fabric here. I did use something with just green in here. And these blocks are white or cream or just any light color that you want. And that does show on the pattern. It's kind of hard to see on here, but you can see the darkened areas. That's where you would use your scrap fabric. Anything that is plain white, just go through your stash and find light colored pieces. After cutting out my pattern pieces, I would just lay them on my design board. And like for pattern piece number A, which is here, you'll need 2 of those. And they're light colored. Same way for the rest of the pattern pieces. Some of these I already cut out. Here is the green piece. So the light colored, I think I did cut all those out. But I want to show you how I cut out the scrap fabric pieces. And you can do this however you like. And I'm just going through this same pile and I'm just alternating the fabrics. So like here, I would not want to use this one again. So I'm just going to open up my fabric here, do a quick cut. Put this one to the side because I know that I used it. If your fabric is wrinkly, then go ahead and give it a press at this time. And I just take a glue stick. Just make sure it is a washable school glue stick. And I just put a dab on there and press it down. And you would just want to use a small ruler, lay it up against there. If you have one of those rotating mats, that would be a great time to pull that out. Thank you, Carol. And then the pattern pieces already have the 1/4 inch seam allowance built in, so you don't have to worry about that. I did round off these corners for you to make it easier to connect your blocks. And I think I need to change my blade. And then just pull that off. I'll give this a quick press. I'll change my rotary cutter blade and I'll be right back. Change the blade in my rotary cutter. We have this pattern piece done. And then what I like to do is just place that piece on here, go back to my design board, and put that on here. And then I'll take my next piece and see what I want to use for this one. I could use this one. I really like this one. And we'll just cut that. And remember, this is crazy quilt style. Just cut the best you can. And then we're just going to cut off this corner. And then this one has a rounded corner. Take that one off, give it a quick press. And then what we'll do is put this one on the design board, just like that. When I have all the pieces cut out, I'll be right back. I just wanted to tell you guys that if you are making a lot of these, you could cut 3 or 4 at a time. You would just pin them in place, and you could certainly do that so that you could make all of your pieces for your quilt blocks ahead of time. Just go through your scrap pile so that you can speed up the process of your blocks. Let's work on the top of our crazy pumpkin. So we have 2 of the A pieces that we'll lay out there, the bottom stem, and then the top of the stem. And then our pattern tells us that we're going to connect B to M, and then the 2 A pieces. What we want to do is use a 1/4 inch seam allowance to connect everything. I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll come back and show you. I just want to show you real quick. When you connect these 2 pieces to sew, you're going to connect them like this. And it's not going to seem right, but it is. Just like that. And when you flip it open, it will be straight. See how that looks? But just go from one end to the other, 1/4 inch seam allowance. Let me see if I can get this to focus for you. There we go. It's just not going to seem right, but it is. Then here's what it looks like. And if I flip that up and press that open, we've got our stem. I'll go ahead and press that, and then it will look like this. Then I need to add these 2 pieces to the stem, and I'll simply put those together. You can pin if you want, and I'm just going to go to the sewing machine and do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just like that. And then we'll connect our other piece, right sides together, 1/4 inch seam allowance. Iron to set your seam, and then press them open. And just like that, you have the top part done. So this section is done. So now we need to begin work on the bottom. B1 is the first piece we need, and that's G. So here's G. Then I need to connect B1 to B2, which is K. like that. And they connect, you'll just look at your pattern. They connect like that. I am going to take my Elmer's school glue and just run some dots along that seam. Put those together so I don't have to pin. Just make sure they're lined up. I'm going to give it a quick press and a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Press your seam and then press it open. We have G connected to K. Now we need to introduce, make sure we're right here. Now we need to introduce I. There's I. Again, I'll just do a little glue basting here, just so I don't have to pin, because I want this to go really, really fast. I'll press that. Quarter inch seam allowance. And then next, it goes like this. If you need to, just readjust it. So it's telling me I need to add H because that is number 4. So let me grab H. And it goes like this. Again, I am just going to take some small dots of glue and attach that. Press 1/4 inch seam allowance. B5 or bottom 5 is F, and this goes right here. Just put a few glue dots, put that on there, and then if you want, we know that B6 is going to be next. That is piece number J. So you could grab J right away and attach that. Whatever you can do to make it faster. I just find that this is pretty relaxing, building these crazy quilt blocks. All right, I will set that glue 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I'll press those seams open. And we're almost there, guys. Look at that, our cute little pumpkin is coming together. And we finished up with B6, so we need B7, which is piece number L. Right there it goes. Don't worry if it doesn't fit perfectly, because we will be trimming these to 10 inches. That was B7, so we need to add B8, which is piece number E. And if you're ever lost, which I get lost a lot, just look at your pattern. This looks right. Lay it there, and we'll do a couple dots of glue. Don't be messy like me. Right sides together. Heat set that glue. 1/4 inch seam allowance. That one was E. Then we need to add piece number D. Yeah, piece number D right there. And that's going to go like that. We'll set that glue. And then we need to add our 2 triangles. One here and one down here. This one is piece number C, which goes right there. And then the bottom one is F. And that is all of our pieces. Let me finish that up and I'll be right back. It does look a little wonky, doesn't it? But that's okay. I hope you can see the pumpkin in here. So all we're going to do is we're going to connect the top to the bottom. So I'll just do that with some little glue dots. And then line this up. We are a little off, but it's okay. And then I will just sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way across. How darling is this? And it is a perfect candidate for quilt as you go. For this one, I'm going to do all zigzag stitches with different colors so that I can show you what that would look like. And compared to our last one, many of the same fabrics, but that will look so cute in a quilt. Let me get set up for zigzag and I'll be back to show you that. For the top part, I'm just going to use some green thread to stitch up here. And I forgot to mention to you guys that I glue basted my block onto a piece of batting and a backing. Here's the backing, and it can just be scrap fabric. So this is glue basted down. I did switch out my foot to use an open toe foot so that I could see where I'm going. It helps me to line up because it has this little red piece, this little red dot in the center. So I can always stay centered when using those wide stitches. So let's go ahead and put that zigzag stitch on. And here is our cute Scrappy pumpkin. And can you see all the zigzag stitches? I still think that's pretty dramatic and I like it. Let's see if we can get this squared up to 10 inches. There we go, there's 10. Here is the 5 mark and that's where our stem is. If I move that all the way up, we should be able to get 10 out of this. I'll move this over a little. 10. Move that down. And let's flip this around. Here's 10. Everything always looks a lot better when it's trimmed up. And how cute is that? I just love it. I do have a playlist with videos that explain how to join these quilt as you go blocks, so feel free to check that out. And here are the two together. And let me show you the back of this one. I did use white thread. I wish I had used a darker thread, but it's just fine. I do love the stitching. And these don't perfectly line up, but if they're sashed, you're not even going to notice that. Be sure to let me know in the comments if you like this project, if you want to see more of the crazy quilt blocks, and if you have a favorite you want me to turn into a crazy quilt, be sure to leave me a comment on that as well. I appreciate all your comments. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a Bible verse and a final thought to encourage you. The Bible verse is from 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. Then the Lord knows how to deliver the godly out of temptations and to reserve the unjust under punishment for the day of judgment. Even when life feels like a crazy quilt, messy, stitched together with scraps, not always perfect, God has a plan. He knows how to protect us and guide us. When we place our trust in Him, every piece of our lives, just like this quilt block, finds its place in His greater design. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and commenting. It truly means the world to me. And until the next video, God bless you.